Aloha, everyone, and welcome back. This is Marissa Indigo Miracles of Divine DNA Blueprint and Light Body Prana Yoga and Integrity Cacao and Bliss Filled Ayurveda. Welcome to this podcast. This is such a beautiful topic to dive into, and it's one of my favorite things to talk about and to think about and to feel into, and that is the crystalline grid. So I was guided to share this information based on quite a bit of experience to support more and more of you all to feel into it, connect, and create your own experiences with the crystalline grid. If you're a grid worker or a gatekeeper, oftentimes you're having these experiences called to different places. You love to explore new places on the planet, sacred sites. Maybe one of those people that is really intrigued by like pretty much every stone you see, every tree. Or perhaps you're more interested in the globe as a whole, looking at the unified consciousness, the different collective layers of consciousness. So for me, the crystalline grid has always looked like a beautiful, glowing, maybe humming, glistening spider web kind of grid network with perfect geometries that also are so intricate, like lace or like snowflakes. So just to try to give you some imagery to work with, kind of a crystalline web, or maybe with dewdrops, like when you've seen dewdrops on a spider web and the sun is shining through and they're just these beautiful jewels just sparkling. So it is kind of a diamond. I always see it as kind of a soft white rainbowy diamond light. And I've got a great visual here. So this is how I've always seen it in my imagination, in my mind's eye. And then if you look here, I'm actually sharing, this is a beautiful gift that I received from Gaia. The first time I went to a special hike in Washington called Priest Point. And there was, I couldn't believe it, the sun was shining down through the forest, hitting the ferns, everything's glowing like emerald, and it's a golden afternoon kind of sunlight. And then I noticed out of the corner of my eye this orb, and it was an incredible spider web that's pretty much an orb shape, like a globe. And so I was blessed enough to capture this film of it. So this will be on loop. This is here a gift from Gaia from the Pacific Northwest near the Olympic rainforest. These are some primordial energies that we work with here with Gaia. So I feel very lucky to be here and share these transmissions with you all. So the crystalline grid, of course, is intimately connected with the planet, and there are varying layers of it. So see what you see. But me personally, I feel into different streams based on the frequencies available. So the pain body of humanity is going to have different layers. The psyche or psychology, right? The emotional. There's a lot of different layers. Then you've got pockets of belief systems and cultural belief systems. So there's a lot of pockets when we talk about the human consciousness, all these layers that I see, different grids that are connected. So all these different grids are kept alive or fed or maintained essentially as an operating system by the consciousness of people. So as you can see then, okay, yeah, we've got quite a few of these things running as far as humanity is concerned through different dimensions of consciousness, right? So then the crystalline grid is kind of enrobing all of those. So just to start to share how these layers, how I've seen them, how I've worked with them as a grid keeper and a gatekeeper. So the crystalline grid has been here for some time. And this was something that I was guided to share, that the grids have been in place for decades and there are many layers over them. They consistently upgrade. It's an operating software, photonic light, intermeshed with the planet, the biosphere, and then the noosphere, which is our human and as beings here. So spiritual beings having a human experience through the light body and our wiring and our physicality. It's why our physical bodies are so magical and so coveted as a light technology. This is ancient future tech, so we are enmeshed with the grid. So then there's the biosphere, which is the planets atmosphere, as we know, different layers of that. Then there's the noosphere, which Dr. Jose Arguelles talked about extensively. I highly recommend any of his books. But the noosphere is our own psychic connection to the planet. So there's all these layers going on, and that's just a few that are all contained, all these layers of the crystalline grid. So the crystalline grid, as it has evolved, has been in place for decades, from first wavers in the quantum leaps of consciousness that have been happening the last several hundred years. But before that, this is the piece that's very important to share. It was the native populations, all the indigenous populations of every continent where they originated. They held the stories. So it was songs, right? That's how the crystalline grid was held in place, through their DNA, through their being, their culture, and their songs, the stories. So it's like a musical grid, crystalline grid. And we think about all of the different aboriginals as well, all the natives of every continent holding it down. Think about Australia, the dream time. So the crystalline grid has been here. It's part of Gaia's consciousness. So just to share a little bit of Akashic history. This is fun to listen to these activations as I share them, as we dive in. This is from the oracle state. So I'm transmitting this on a projector for you through my third eye. So if you close your eyes, turn on the third eye, and just make the intent to look out and seeing almost as if the inside of your skull is the big movie screen down at the Cineplex. See if you can see what I'm seeing, or you're going to get your version, your flavor of it. So it's fun to share information this way. So that's a little bit of a breakdown of the visuals and starting to connect into the various streams of it and just feel in, and you're going to have your own feeling about the crystalline grid. But it's through our bodies, it's through our DNA. The more our light quotient increases, meaning the more that we have done our clearing and we're really making it a devotional practice every day, committed daily to coming online with our higher self, all of our higher aspects, so that we can really emanate that pure presence. So meditation and breath work and yoga can all help us have that expansive, like blue sky mind, right? So then you're more in that place of stillness and pure peace, and you're connected to your God source that way, creator source through you as the pure presence. So the more we commit to that as a daily practice consistently over time, your frequency raises naturally because you're clearing the density out, right? So as that happens, you're going to have more and more connections with different layers of the crystalline grid and different aspects of Gaia, different dimensions she's going to start to show you. And I'm so grateful to Sandra Walter for first bringing this into my consciousness, that all you have to do is ask, can you show me the crystalline realms? Can you show me, like when you're out with Gaia? And you'll start to see things, and it's really, really lovely. And then you start to notice that there's more and more species being discovered on a daily basis, which is pretty incredible. It's not something that's on mainstream broadcast, but they're consistently finding new fungi that can do amazing things like convert radioactive waste, or exotic plant species, or like pure white, like jaguars that they thought were extinct. Gaia has so many secrets, you guys. It's just wonderful. So that's the crystalline grid enmeshed with Gaia. I want to also share how we are, if you start to, again, through the third eye, looking at your body as the merkabah, and I'll put a photo here if you're not familiar with that geometric structure of the body vehicle. But this is the energetic vehicle that also kicks on when we have achieved a certain light quotient of frequency of being. So the higher our frequency and the more clearing, the more we're living in the heart space with love and compassion and that Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, clear seeing, that crystalline, that pure loving, living through the heart space, aligned and empowered. Then we get access, of course, to more and more, because it's all frequency based. Those are the passcodes. It's all frequency. So the merkabah is one of our inherent abilities to use to travel and to increase our magnetics and all kinds of magical things, and gets access with a certain amount of dedication. It's like your 10,000 hours, right? So here's the merkabah. So if you start to imagine yourself as the globe of the earth and you see your merkabah, and Gaia has her own different layers of that, you can almost imagine yourself as the earth, as Gaia herself, like at one. You're a microcosm of her. And then you can start to determine on your body. Now we're going to get into mapping. So I call this star mapping the body, where we can align parts of our body with constellations if you want to do this on a galactic level for certain things, or different planets, comets, different parts of our galaxy, of our sector here, of our quadrant, or beyond, depending on what star systems you're from and what you're called to do. But in this instance, I want to talk about the sacred sites on the earth. So you can actually project yourself in meditation, taking yourself to Machu Picchu and go and sit there. Taking yourself to Mount Shasta or Haleakala on Maui. Anywhere. The pyramids and the Sphinx. The Tor in Glastonbury. In the center of Stonehenge. So whether you've been to these places physically or not, now there's a whole other different thing if you've been to somewhere physically, which I'll get to. But you can use the power of the third eye and the intent and the manifestation to connect through the quantum realm, through the crystalline grid, to any sacred sites and connect to the qualities of it and bring those through into your body and transmit them out into where you are. So this could be part of maybe a local grid working if you want to bring some magical energy, if you're guided. So if you've been to a physical location, like I've been so blessed, and this is how I started to put the pieces together later on in my process, that I was so blessed to travel to random locations just through pure synchronicity, all over the planet. And so I am a code keeper in my field. When we visit sacred sites and we connect with them and our heart is open and we're open to receiving with humility and grace and just asking, show me, I'm so grateful to be here. And you're just completely absorbed really in that pure childlike curiosity and wonderment. You will receive a lot of codes that will get downloaded into your fields, into your DNA. A lot of DNA activations happen for me in Europe of my lineage, and really interesting timelines, things like that to reconcile and to embrace, and all kinds of neat stuff. And then other places that I've been, like I've had the opportunity to sit with the Carib people. These are where the name Caribbean comes from. These are the Carib Indians of the Caribbean islands. And I was blessed to sit with them and exchange information and receive information from them. So I carry codes in the Caribbean. I do definitely love getting a little Pirates of the Caribbean over there. And then sitting with the Shipibo deep in the Amazon. So these are two lineages that I do not believe are in my genetic lineage in this incarnation, this particular amalgam that I am. So you'll notice that places that are linked to your heritage, to your ancestry, you will get different kinds of activations. And then places outside of your ancestry, you're downloading wisdom codes to kind of to learn and to embody and to share if you are guided, if that feels aligned. So you can connect to the crystalline grid through the elements in your own body. And this is where I go with why I teach and share Ayurvedic wisdom, the Vedic rishis, the Vedas, the ancient holy books, a very ancient lineage of wisdom that was solar transmission, galactic transmissions from Sirius and the Pleiades, and all kinds of very ancient wisdom streams downloaded this information for the rishis. They received it. It's called Shruti, divinely revealed. So it's like, downloaded light codes in the meditative state. So the atomic potential of all of us is a unique blend of the elements of creation. Some of us have more fire, some of us have more water, some of us have more earth, some of us have more ether, some of us have more air. And you'll notice patterns based on this. So that's why I'm really into Ayurveda. I am a clinical Ayurvedic specialist. If you're interested in learning more about that, having a session. But I also do have a free course, the Foundations of Ayurveda course. And you can take a quiz, a dosha quiz, which is your elemental composition. Find out more about the elements that you are. It's really empowering wisdom to have this kind of self-intimacy with your own being, your physical makeup. It starts to open us up to connecting more with the body vehicle as an avatar skin suit, which also, the more that we open up to that, opens up the neural pathways to connect with that higher light to then kick on the merkabah. So all these things stack up. I share everything that I've learned that has helped me to expand and then go beyond. So we always have these springboards. So there's the free dosha quiz and the elements, the foundations of Ayurveda course on my mystery school, which you're welcome to check out. It's really fun. So once you know more about your own elemental combinations, it's going to tell you even more about how you interact with your environment and how you interact and what would maybe be the most easy ways for you to organically connect and lock in with the crystalline grid in your daily life. So figuring out what rituals and practices and combinations of things will support you in maintaining a consistent connection that also grows over time. This is also part of the light quotient. So as you can see, all of these topics are vastly connected. It's really fun. Thank you for being here and tuning in. These are some of my favorite things to talk about. If you want to learn more about the grid work and crystalline grids and going deeper, we do have a really amazing Global Grid Workers course that goes in depth on the crystalline grid and how, through your own elements and through activations and things like that, how to do grid work on even more depth if you want to go deeper. So that too is on the Mystery School. I will put information for this down below. And the rain is coming, which is so lovely. I will have a storm element activation coming out soon, which was gifted by the weather today. Out here in Washington, we're having a lot of amazing electricity. So the storm element is here. It is present and so inspiring. It gave me a beautiful activation to share with you that, again, is elemental. I'm an elemental shaman, so that's my jam. I go there often, and I love sharing it with you all. So thank you for your support and your love, and wishing you a beautiful rest of your day or evening, wherever you are on the planet. And I will see you soon. This is Marissa Indigo signing out. Aloha.